Hello, everyone. It's Tyler. Hope everything's going well. I don't know if many people noticed this, but last week I did not put up a podcast. Devastated. I did a wonderful podcast, one that I was really proud about, with a good friend, my first guest on the show, Joseph James Francis, also known as Budget Boss, and went through the whole conversation just like I'm really doing now. And what I pretty quickly realized was, well, after the discussion was done, and this is where I guess the headphone monitoring comes in. There's a couple times where we got laughing going on, and it was just peaking uncontrollably. And so, I mean, the volume going up too much when we're talking. And one thing that I've learned many times, and that I thought I would have learned for good, is that you can record quiet and amplify that sound after, but if you record too loud on the original take, you've lost that data, and it's really hard to fix it. And so I apologize to Joe if you are listening. Apologize to my listeners / viewers if you're interested. I'm going to bring him back on. It was just a great conversation about finance, about life, about 90s hip hop, and some Toronto Raptors as well too. But some really good advice for some people who are just getting more interested in finance from a guy 35 years, couple years older than a lot of the people that I'm talking to, and has some really good advice. Went through some difficult times with finance and really turned his life around, and is making a contribution now as a financial advisor, and just a good person overall, trying to educate people as much as they can. So that's that. Apologize, Joe. My advice after failing miserably at that, our conversation, make sure you're recording at the right levels. If you are going up and down like that, maybe put some compression on it, or a limiter to make sure that you're not peaking like that. So that's it. I don't have too much of a big topic today, but and as I was trying to put together what I wanted to talk about, there was something just really natural, and that is that my 26th birthday is actually coming up, well, a couple days here, and 26 is an odd year. So I have a couple, I guess, what I actually wrote in the beginning was a couple things that I've just been thinking about or noticed in my 26 years of life, things that I'm trying to work on, or things that I've at least had some success, and maybe trying to share some insights. And so I want to do a little bit of that. But first thing, I want to go a little bit lighter, and we'll see how light this actually is. Not usually a massive BuzzFeed advocate, but they have here 26 signs that you're 26. And so I wanted to test this out today. I'm going to go through. I actually haven't seen all these. I saw the first couple, and I just wanted to read these out. Maybe these will resonate with you. As someone who is painfully turning 26, I've always had issues with aging. I just always feel like there's this level of urgency that I just need to get things done, and that we have this limited time on Earth, and maybe just limited time as a human race. The way I look around, things are going on right now. So these birthdays have always made me think deeply about who I am and what I'm doing, and this 26 signs that you're 26, maybe they'll have some things for me here. So let me just pull this up. 26 signs you're 26, BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed, thank you for your hard work on this article. Shouts out to Andrea Hickey and Aaron Chack, BuzzFeed staff. So, first one, staying up past 11 p.m. is super hard. This is an exaggeration. I can stay up past 11. I like to wake up early and actually get stuff done in the morning now. I can still do it. I'm just a little bit tired the next day. So I don't think that one's quite settled in. But that being said, and this might come up in this list, when you're drinking and staying up late, whoo, man, that will knock me on my feet. I guess not on my feet, off my feet for days. And it used to be drink one night, go out the next night, and obviously you're, I guess, avoiding withdrawal by pounding more booze into yourself. But as I get older and I try to take more care of my body, exercising and eat healthy, when I drink alcohol and stay up late, man, I'm done for a long time. So next one, starting to get wrinkles, but you still have pimples. This is something that was really disappointing to me. I had pimples in high school and like acne, and it was like decently bad. I would get quite a bit, especially on my face, and I just was always looking for the time you'd see these like shiny, mid-20s or young 30s people, and they just never had any pimples. They didn't look like they had wrinkles. And now I'm, this age, and I don't really necessarily have too many wrinkles, but definitely got some pimples. So it's, you wake up in the morning, you think I'm 25, now I'm going to be 26. And I'm going to wake up, I'm going to have a fresh, clean face today. And then you wake up and it's not that way, is it? So painful one, number 2 there. It's no longer cute that you don't have your shit together in life. It's concerning. This one I completely agree with. Fuck. I shouldn't swear like that. But and this was something that I had in my notes as well too. Like we're all living such different lives. And I think when you're younger, we're all in, public school, high school, or playing hockey or playing sports. It all just seems like everyone is just together doing their same thing. And as you start to get out of that university groove, out of that education, people really start taking different paths and doing different things. For us, I've got friends who are out in Toronto, but now out in Silicon Valley, out in LA. You know what I mean? Like the world changes so much and our lives change so much. And, as you start to have a little bit of success or grow, a little bit older and you're starting to plan out your future, you look around at people who maybe aren't making the best life decisions and are almost, I guess, sometimes a lot of proud of those life decisions, whatever that is, the binge drinking, whatever, and that's just one example. There's many, whatever it's, Steve-O jackass stuff, crash, whatever that is, it's not really that cute anymore. It used to be funny. You're in high school, you're in university, someone, sending a Snapchat of, themselves getting drunk, or it's, 11 a.m. It's like, is it time to drink already? No, it's not. You don't have to. And, that coolness factor that comes along with that, it's not there anymore. I actually have to check your bank account once in a while. I check my bank account like every day. Maybe that's a little bit neurotic of me. Maybe every 2 days. But I care about what's in my bank account. I always have. I hope most people do. I like the GIF, or the GIF. That's not even a debate I want to get into, but it's you just have to prepare for your future financially, and I already feel late at 26. I feel like our education system didn't lead me down the right path to knowing what good investing is, knowing where to put my money, or what I was supposed to do. And you're 26, I'm already aware that I could have been saving now. And so a lot of my expenses are obviously going into business expenses and technology and stuff. But that need for saving and creating that future for you, that's, that pile of money that's going to be at the end of life, especially as pensions deplete, as just we move into this gig economy, it's really important to take care of that stuff. And so I'm trying to help other people who are 26 years old are as well. You have no idea how you're doing financially compared to everyone else. Yeah, this is weird. I do agree with this. I mean, I have my girlfriend, and I have some friends that I will openly discuss finances with, but like most people, I just have no idea. And you sort of you're always sort of looking around like, oh, I got a new car. Oh, wow, I just built a house and moved. But it's such a mysterious thing, right? And it brings me back to this. I'm trying to think if it's a Black Mirror episode or what it is, but it's like, it might be a music video. They're walking along, and the people who look like they have all their stuff together, as in nice house, nice clothes, nice car, they're the ones who are in extreme amounts of debt and not that happy and all that stuff. And then you've got the more frugal, just balanced people who are investing or saving. They've got a good job and they're just good with their money. And it's a really hard thing to decipher. And, even from, being a little bit of an entrepreneur and going to see some really cool events and people and meeting some great entrepreneurs, it's a really odd thing. People have pockets of money. There's a lot of wealth inequality, and groups of people have money and other people don't. So it's just such an interesting thing to notice. And as you get older, and for a lot of people, when financial stuff wasn't as important growing up, it becomes more important now, and it's really interesting to look around and actually see that. Number 6, BuzzFeed number 6. There's 26. I'm going to be going on for a while if I'm doing this. So we'll see. If I'm getting tired of this, I'm going to stop it. But college kids aren't as cool as you remember being when you were their age. This is 100% true. I look back at myself now when I was in college. I'm like, God damn, Tyler, you're an idiot. And I'm still learning so much every day, thinking about all the mistakes I made in school. I've been actually in a deep, dark pit lately about going to university before I went to college. And it wasn't cool. We're drinking, we're breaking stuff, we're, causing problems, and we're so reckless when we're young. And as you start to get a little bit older, you just realize, like, breaking stuff that isn't yours isn't cool, because I worked hard to buy the stuff that I bought, and if someone broke that wouldn't be very nice. And I think we're not aware or recognize that when we're growing up, especially in university, when many of our parents have paid for education and our student townhouse and res and food and all this stuff. You really do take that for granted. And so 26, that 25-year-old, it really feels like it is that transition into adulthood. Your frontal cortex the growth of the brain is done. And so I always try to think, like, fuck, is this what I'm stuck with? If so, I might be in some trouble. But, that shift starts. I can feel it already. No one's excited about my birthday this year. The gifts start, drying up, and the excitement for someone's birthday really stops. I found 25 was a big one. And then you start to hit those bigger milestones, the 30, the 40, 50, 65, all that stuff. But it's time to be an adult. I'm happy with that. And I do look back at myself and many people in college and university as idiots. Teens straight up scare you. This is a different thing because we grew up a little bit, at least, as a generation that didn't start with technology necessarily, didn't start with the worldwide internet in a way, but transitioned onto it pretty early in our lives. And so I don't think the gap of understanding generation below me is that different. I get why they why they're watching these YouTube videos. I get why they're playing Fortnite, and these are just two examples that are just popping up. Like, I guess I get while they're eating Tide Pods. But we fetishized a bunch of this stuff that these kids are doing for years in our own lives, and so it's not really a surprise that they're doing a lot of this stuff. I can relate. You can go to so many weddings, they sort of blend together. I haven't gone to too many weddings. I do agree they sort of blend together. This is a great debate in my life right now, and a lot of my friends are getting married and stuff, and I have a beautiful, wonderful girlfriend, and so these every time there's an engagement, all those feelings and things start to rush up, and it's odd. So I started to go to a couple weddings with her and a couple of my friends getting married as well too. Haven't quite blurred together yet. They're all pretty memorable, but just sort of seems like an archaic ceremony that's expensive. I don't know about that one. Probably going to get me in trouble. Robin, I love you. Hope you're not watching. 9, every time you're at a wedding, just the number when asked you on your big day. There it is. There's the follow-up question. Yeah, don't need to deal with that. You refuse to wear things that make you physically uncomfortable. Goodbye flats that give you blisters. So long shorts that ride up your crotch. I guess this one's geared more towards women. I guess men are very comfortable in life. We've got nice shoes, nice pants, all that stuff. I don't think I've ever had to be that uncomfortable. It's not like I'm putting on metal chains and leather to look good. So I don't feel that one right. Finally feel okay about investing in things that will make your life easier, like a food processor or comfortable shoes. Definitely agree with that. You start to realize that trade-off that you're making in life, time versus money, and just convenience and value. And there's a lot of things that I've bought and I see people buy that maybe would get some criticism. But it's like, if that's making your life easier, if that's taking the stress off you and it makes you just enjoy your life more, buy it. Looking at a new phone right now. I'm looking at a couple things that I could use that could just make me more productive and make my life, I don't want to say efficient and streamlined because I sound like a robot, but I also didn't want to say enjoyable. And just some things that will help me make my life smoother, and I'm happy to invest in those because it has it has a big impact on my health and my happiness and just my overall productivity and success down the road. Going out on Halloween and New Year's just doesn't feel that appealing anymore. Yeah, done it a couple too many times. Same drunk slump fest every night. I'm looking for some new experience on those kind of nights, and so it is really odd. It's weird how much that stops becoming a priority. And when you do go to those things, it's like, wow, nothing's really changed here. This is the same thing. Everyone's going to go home. They spend a bunch of money and they feel, sort of sad and depressed in the morning because they spent a bunch of money, they ate unhealthy, and they don't feel very good. And all that's it's just not worth it anymore, man. It's not worth it. I don't know why I'm such a, I guess my dad was sort of a drunk, and, I just had not that great of a perspective on it, but I just don't get why I personally just can't stand drinking so much. But it's definitely something that maybe hit me early in life, and I'm sort of glad about that. Can't stand loud bars. Man, a lot of these are getting the same here. Can't stand loud bars. Actually, can't stand anything played at an appropriate sound level. I listen to my headphones. I listen to everything at an appropriate sound level, and the reason is because I went to those loud bars back in the day. So it sucks. Yeah, don't do that. Don't listen to those too loud. You're going to have a ton of ear damage in our generation. You want to go, oh, let's drink. Yeah. Okay, drinking. One thing's a funny joke that I thought, like, you can drink. I've seen this meme sort of floating around. Like, you can drink 18 beers and chug them back, but why can't you drink a couple glasses of water? It's really hard. It's hard to drink water and hydrate. You're finally at the part where if someone thinks they're younger than you are, it's a compliment. Don't care. You have to come to terms with the reality. Many of your idols became successful when they were younger than you. Yeah, that is a really odd thing. Like when you're 26, I think every person in my generation and your generation before that at least had some sort of idea or thought that they might be famous and really successful. And then you start to get older, like I'm 26, and there's kids who are popping off at 14 making millions of dollars gaming and some shit, and it's like, shit, you know what I mean? I missed that. I missed the timing, or something happened here. And I think that you have to come to terms with reality to whatever, you know what I mean? That's life, and that's how it goes. I hope that not too many people are getting hung up that, especially if you're from London, Ontario, or around here. Killing into my mouth. That's a funny one though. When you Google celebs in their 30s to remind yourself that you'll kill it in the upcoming years. This is something that I always look to, and I'm feeling sad about myself. I'm trying to think even the best example. I think it was the Kentucky Fried Chicken. It didn't start Kentucky Fried Chicken until it was 50 years old. Those stories are always so inspiring that you can sort of reinvent yourself or hit success later in life. And I've been a participant in that kind of search. You're finally going through that quarter life crisis. Everyone warned you about when I went through that before. You suddenly realize that you have no idea what you're doing with your life. Back and forth on that, and I think everyone is. And I talk to people who are 15 and have no idea what they're doing. I talk to people who are 65 and have no idea what they're doing. So because of all this, every life choice you make feels way more important than it ever did. That's true. I think you really underestimate the consequences of your actions and decisions when you're growing up. And now, especially for me as a business owner, and doing videos and stuff like this, even I say something stupid on this. I already swore one time, whatever, I can get in trouble. It could have an impact on my, my success as a business owner, as my reputation, and in a small city that means a lot. And you have to be, and of course, financial decisions. You don't pay off your credit card, there's a hit to your credit score. Now you can't get approved for a house and a mortgage when you wanted to get that. Whew, that's quite a path to take down just because of one decision. And it has big ramifications when you're getting to this age. And so it definitely feels more important. I get stressed out by those decisions, but, work to mitigate that as well, too. Parents probably had a house and family at your age, and that doesn't help. This is true. I'm lucky to have a family who is very understanding of the conditions that we're in, and something that my mom and my grandma says, and even everyone in my family have just it's an odd time to be in this age range, looking at what happened in the previous generation. And I think we all suspected such a stable environment that what we saw in our parents was going to be what we saw as well too, and that is obviously not true. Kids are living at home. Not even kids, adults living at home. We don't have the money. We have student debt. All that kind of stuff has really changed how we're participating in life and where we are along that timeline. So that's an interesting one, and I think that there's a lot of looking down upon our generation for not figuring that stuff out. But unfortunately, we were left with quite a mess here, and just also I feel sort of completely uneducated in a lot of things that were important and would have led us to make better decisions down this road. And for example, I bring up that again. going to university. If I wasn't going into a STEM field, why didn't I go to college and learn more practical skill set instead of learning a bunch of theory? But every single person growing up, public school, guidance counselor, principal, teacher, parent, all that stuff will tell you to go to university. So, yes, we're behind on this timeline, but I don't think that was all our fault. And it's hard to make those big decisions that are important when we've sort of been misguided along that path a little bit as well too. When you see people your age with a baby, it really makes you wonder if you can handle one, because you don't. Yeah, I feel that. I just think it's not a responsibility that I want right now. I'm happy that some of my friends are having kids. They can do the test run for me, and I'll come in after I figure out all the mistakes and everything they made, and hopefully I can raise my kid to be my kids hopefully to be great little beacons of light. And I'm not quite ready for that. I want to get to even a more financially stable place, mentally stable place, and really dedicate my life to the kids when I can and when it's appropriate, instead of just doing it now when I don't have the time, I don't have the success in my career yet, and it's just not fair to those people that I'm bringing into the world. You have to keep telling yourself, a real adult, that's fine. Maybe there's a comfort in transitioning out of your crazy early 20s and into your more stable late 20s. Maybe, just maybe, you are approaching the prime of your life, the time when you were fully unapologetic you. Maybe that's actually the best thing ever. BuzzFeed, you ended on a great note. That's really nice of you guys. Little article there, I'll peg that in the link, but nothing too exciting. Apologize for wasting all your guys' time with that. But little fun thing to do anyways. And now I just wanted to say a couple last things that I had just written down from my own perspective before I actually saw this BuzzFeed article. So do what you want. Don't be scared of what people think. Most people don't care much about your life or what is happening in it. That's true. I for so long growing up and even to this day, and even before like making these videos and doing podcasts, I felt so scared to be, who I truly am, and in most regards I still feel that way. And you build up all this pressure in your head, and you build up perceptions of your perception of what people perceive of you, and it puts you in this really sort of dangerous space where you don't necessarily want to put yourself out there because you're scared of the risk associated with it and the perception that's going to come and how that might change for people. And so I put for example, I put a video out, 40 minutes of me talking and doing a dumb BuzzFeed article. Maybe people think less of me because of that. That's one of those things that you have to deal with, and it's a worrying thing as you're growing up. It's a worrying thing for anyone, and I think there's a lot of people not necessarily living the lives that they want because of that fear. And the more you can overcome that, the more you can put yourself out there. Exposure therapy, get yourself seen, say some stuff, make some mistakes. You realize it's not as much stress and pain and shame and anxiety as you think. And you really realize that most people don't care that much about you until you get to a super elevated level, and people want to learn from you. And it's just, people only have so much time. They only have so much patience and attention. They're not going to give it to you. Next one, only have one body. This was a tough lesson that I learned when I was 21 and went through a really difficult time in my life. And after going through that, really struggled with just food addiction and stress eating and all that stuff. And I ballooned up 100 pounds in that time, so about 185 to 280 pounds. And to this day, that has had ramifications on my health and my body. I have lost that weight. I'm now about 210. And I did get down to 200, but man, that devastated my body. I still wonder about the stress that did to it, the years that I cut off my life from being that overweight and obese, and even stretch marks and things that I really, again, it's that invincible young person who thinks that nothing's going to hurt them, nothing's going to touch them, that you almost feel like you're in a robot body that no one's going to touch or hurt, and then you realize just how fragile that body is, and really life in general. So, there's a couple other things that, I mentioned in that. Obviously, get healthy and exercise is so important. And as I get further along and I see people who aren't working out and maintaining their lives and eating healthy and being right, then I notice that they start to look old and worn down, and they're tired and lack energy all the time, and all this stuff. So it's I think I got someone coming to the office here. Don't worry. And so it is really interesting. Just I think we have to put some priority on that, and especially as we hit this age, the metabolism slows down a little bit. It's such an important part of the life there. With that, get rid of the heavy drinking, get a good night's sleep. Especially, a lot of people are young. There seems to be this sort of obsession and just, I don't know, even prestige to people who don't sleep that much, and they're always working, or they're always studying, or they're always partying, whatever that is. And as more studies come out and we realize the how important health is, and how important sleep is, then you have to start to ask yourself those questions. Is sacrificing sleep and putting that pressure on yourself, is that truly worth it? And in most answers, it's no. And the damage that's coming from that lack of sleep can really have compounding effects over your life. See you, buddy. Have a good weekend. A couple other things here, and I apologize. I'm looking, talking, and also trying to do this at once. Take care of your mental health. People don't realize how close they are to an edge, and this goes along with you only have one body. Man, I was so confident with where I was in my life. I was 21 years old, coming out of university degree, just won a championship in hockey. Everything that was everything that I wanted to happen in my life was sort of, or what I thought what I wanted in my life was lining up. And, I thought it was okay. I thought I was happy, all this stuff. A couple of wrong decisions, too much experimentation and not dealing with past drama. And quickly, I'm off into a negative thought loop that really led me to a destructive couple of years of my life, to that weight gain, to, a suicide attempt and a hospital visit and all this stuff that, you just don't realize how close you are on that little cliff. I think people think that they're walking on this big, grassland, wide plains, when we're really rocking down a really tight corridor on a double-sided cliff. It's almost like Lord of the Rings when Frodo and all them are climbing up that stuff, and it's just so easy to take one little step and fall. And if you're not maintaining, your mental health, your physical health, all that stuff, can have some really detrimental effects, obviously now, but later in life as well too. And so be careful, take care of that mental health, whatever that is. If you're not struggling with it, still practice mindfulness. Make sure that you're talking to things that you are stressed about. Make sure you have someone to confide in. All these things that are so important in making sure that we do live these healthy lives. And a couple other things here. And a lot of this is, I guess I don't want it to be, generic advice, but seems like simple truths. And as simple as some of those truths are, I think it is important to reiterate them, and maybe by the way that I'm reiterating them, they're going to connect with obviously you and who's ever listening, but also even resonate maybe more deeply with myself as well too. And so obviously another big one we hear, find something you're passionate about. I've heard this really interesting thing lately of, I'm trying to think of all three stages, but there's, sort of, if you're not living in one of these three stages, you're not going to be that happy. And that first stage is acceptance. Maybe it's not the best situation, but you've accepted that situation. There's then the next level, which is, you're enthusiastic about that situation, and that's really good. But then there's that next level, which is enthusiasm and learning. And you're progressing towards a goal. And I think that's something that we really is misrepresented and misunderstood, is that we need to keep learning. We need to keep setting goals, and we need to keep striving for and trying to accomplish those goals, because when we don't, we get complacent, we get, we just get docile, and, we're just, you just think you're going to do all your learning in school. And now as you get access to other people, and I find people who are older and they're still learning and they're pushing themselves to learn, and they're learning new languages and other stuff. And life is constant learning. And if you can enjoy learning and finding out new things, man, life is going to be so much better. And before I really went through everything, I feel like I didn't necessarily understand that or just respect that fact. I loved learning so much, and I just thought, wow, I'm going to be done school and I'm just not going to learn anymore. But, especially now I put myself in a situation where I get to learn every day and every single second, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. So if you can build that passion, you can build learning into your life, it's really going to be a great thing. Meet new people, make new friends. This is really important. I've tried to diversify my friend group and peer group, and intentionally, and the people who I see doing that, who are going out to networking events or going out to different events just to meet people, they expand that friend base, they expand those people that they're connected to, and they seem to live a wholer and happier life. So, there might be some old friends who are great, but there might be some old friends who are causing negative energy, and you want to avoid that and make sure that you're not getting lost in that. And so if someone's dragging you down and they're a friend, well, they might not be that friend, and you might need to find someone else who's actually going to lift you up and support you. I'm at 30 minutes here, so I'm going to keep going with a couple more. This has been a big shift for me, and this has only happened in the last 6 to 8 months. I worked for so long to build my business, and I was always billing hourly, meaning that I work an hour, I get paid $100 for that hour. But when you constrain yourself to hourly billing, then you are then stuck doing that. You know what I mean? You're trading that time forever. You're trading that $100 for 60 minutes, and that's going to repeat and over and over again. But you only have so much finite time. You can only sell yourself out so much. You can only do so much work in a week and do good work in a week. And so as I've moved along and sort of seen this, and thanks to some great mentors and support, I really tried to make a transition, obviously, into long-term contracts where I know that I'm working with someone, but I'm also not billing by an hourly rate anymore. In most cases anyways, meaning that I am now paid for the value of what I do. People know I do good work and they pay me, but they don't ask for a timesheet at the end of the week. I don't have to clock in for 40 hours just to make my clients happy, or just to fulfill my boss's wishes or anything like that. I have jumped over that hoop of trading time for money, and it's a really hard hoop to jump over. But it changes your life in radical ways. And this might blow up in my face. This might not work, or, I could still have terrible problems. But the fact that I know, I can almost work from it anywhere, or, if I'm sick and I need to go to a doctor's appointment, that's not going to have an impact on the success of my business and for my clients as well too. And so, if you can build your life in a way that, obviously, that first step is that you enjoy. If you're getting paid for the hour, you enjoy it and you're passionate about it. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you can get to that next level where you're not trading time for money anymore, and you're just people recognize your value when they're paying for that, no matter what that time is, as long as you have input and you're doing the work that they want you to do and getting the results that they want even more. Man, it changes everything. And I lived in a primal survival mode, working 40 to, at minimum, no, not 40, 60 to 80 to like 100 hours a week, especially when I first started. And maybe not 100, but man, way too much. And it was miserable. It was stressful, and nothing would move along unless I was literally like typing or coding or developing something. And now, by building the lifestyle that I've built, my accounts that are working, they're working for my clients right now as we speak, and they're driving clicks to the site, driving sales, driving donations. Man, you can't. I don't take that for granted, because I see how easy it is to make that trade, that time for money trade. and how easy it is to get caught in it and how easy to stay your whole life in it. Dad stayed in a factory his whole life because he made a pretty good, decent hourly wage. And when that registers in your head, you think, wow, getting paid that much hourly, that's great. But the roof isn't there, and the ability to live your own flexible life isn't there. And when it truly matters, what is more important? Maybe not the $32 an hour or whatever that is. It's the time with your family. It's the time with your friends. It's the time that you can dedicate to your passions, to your hobbies. It really matters. And so, that's a tough, it's a tough thing to say. And I'm lucky I made it through. I had a lot of support and guidance. But if you can make that shift, you can get a side hobby, a hustle, whatever that is, and start to stop trading time for money, man, life changes. It changes. I guess a couple last things here. Like we talked about this, you don't want to be a mess anymore when you're this age. You're 26 years old, and people who are older than me are going to be laughing at this, saying like, "Man, you're only 26 years old. You're still an idiot." This is completely true. Thank you for reminding me that. But like, you don't want to be a mess, and if you have traumas from your life, from growing up, kind of deal with that stuff, man. Again, it's taking care of your mental health, because that stuff can really start to eat away at you and come back later in life. And if you're not cleaning that stuff up now, you're not going to be happy when you're older, and I just don't want to see that. So, whatever that is, if it's mindfulness, meditation, yoga, if it's talk therapy, or if it's just like a Zen activity, something that you really enjoy doing. People like meditate while they're making tea, you know what I mean? Like that is just as valuable. Golf, even hockey, those things that put you in the Zen zone, that bring you into the present focus. And the great term I've recently heard was, thank you, Aubrey Marcus, was the watcher. That second consciousness in your head that's sort of judging what you're doing. Anytime you can eliminate that, I find that you're in that present moment, and it's just, you're on that path to what life is supposed to be about. That, and I recommend anyone try to find that path, whatever it is, of getting to. Try different things. Just another thing, I try to say, diversify your life again, but do different things, enjoy different things, watch different TV shows, hang out with different people, go to different places, explore and learn, and the more you can perceive, the more you can experience and process and bring into your life, the better it's going to be. It's okay to feel lost. This is a big one. Like, that was in that BuzzFeed article. Well, so many people, I think, feel lost right now, and that's okay, man. It doesn't matter. We're all lost, and I think as we look around the world again, to bring that up, and looking at the current climate that we're in, growing up, you think that all the adults have the answers, and then you grow up, and then you realize adults never had any of the answers, and no one has the answers. And so for you to not have the answer, you're putting too much pressure on yourself, and you shouldn't have that answer. We're too young. We don't have that knowledge as a whole civilization, so why should you have it specifically? Don't compare yourself to others. That goes along with it. I guess that we talked about that a little bit in the BuzzFeed, but that's such a stressor on your life that you don't need. It is really easy to look. I watched Hot Ones with Michael Cera today. I guess Michael Cera is sort of a nerd from Ontario, but sorry, Michael, I don't mean that in a bad way. You're a great guy, but he's so successful at that age, and maybe he doesn't seem like he feels that way, but when you compare yourself, even if it is someone like that, that's a level of success, and that can cause pain in your life, and I think it's really unnecessary, whether that's just your friends and family, peers, or it's the celebrities and people that we're following on Instagram. Don't worry about that, because it's just going to be too much stress. Couple other ones. I'm going to end up here. I know I've been going on for a bit, but hopefully, there's some good insights in here, and I really do try to put a lot of thought into this stuff and improving myself, so that I can, talk about this from a place of credibility, I hope, anyways. So, one of my big things that I've been trying to get towards is you need to be optimistic, and I lack this sometimes. In a lot of ways, I'm a nihilist, and life is sort of meaningless to me sometimes, but you need to be optimistic, because it can drive you, and maybe not even optimistic, it's that passion that we talked about, but optimism, you want to have optimism, and you want to look at the good things in life, but you can't be you have to be practical, and you can't be naive, and I think that's something that as we're young, we really fall victim to. And as you get older, you really start to understand, why are older, or you understand why older people are conservative, and they're more practical, and they're not maybe encouraging your dreams if you're a young kid and all that stuff. It's because they've gone through life and they've realized a lot of the problems with it and all the dullness, and even maybe some of that meaningless as well, and the meaningless part of it as well too. And so, we want to be positive. We want to strive towards change, and we want to have a better world, but we don't want to be naive about it. We need to be practical about that. Learn what you like and don't like is something else I know. I do a lot of work in that to test and experiment and find different things that I enjoy and things that I don't. And even when you fail and you don't like it or you like it, you now know, and you can now make better decisions and assumptions moving forward on what you're going to like or what you're going to be good at based off that. And so if you're not testing, you're not putting your feet in hot water now and then you're never going to know what's going to burn. You're never going to know what's too cold, and you never know what's going to be that perfect temperature for you. Be frugal, live within your means. Talked about finance. Just don't need to spend that much. And, we don't need to keep up with the Joneses here. It's past that, I hope anyways. I know people are still blinging out with diamonds and gold and watches and Gucci and all this stuff, but why? You know what I mean? Why is that's so weird, man? Why would you work so hard to get so successful just to spend it on a corporate entity that's like, creating that with some sad Chinese kids in a warehouse and cost them only 12 cents to make, and they're selling it for $1,000 pair of socks or something? Why? I guess if you got the money to throw around for that, but for most people, I think living a frugal life is going to rewarding one, and the people who we see are the most successful are those frugal people who invest. They don't spend that lavishly, and they enjoy the little things in life. So I think that's really all I've got here. I guess that last piece is that you have to sacrifice in the present sometimes for long-term positive outcomes. And that sacrifice doesn't necessarily need to be a big sacrifice or a small sacrifice or anything. But we're in such a time of instant self-gratification that it's causing a lot of problems for us. And we expect success so much. We expect money so much. Like I was reading some study that like 53% of all millennials believe they're going to be a millionaire. That is, that's probably not going to be true, but the truth is that if everyone saved and did the things that they were supposed to be, that's very possible. If you work smart, you work hard, you can make the connections that you need, you can get there. You just got to start saving and making the right decisions. And it's not as far off as we think it is, but you're going to have to look at the long term. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen in the next 3 weeks. And a lot of times I think people sacrifice long-term gain for short-term gain. And, we see that in politics. We see that in the way the world's running right now. And it's just not going to work. So when you're looking at, what you want to do, don't necessarily just look in the short term. We hope anyways that you're going to live a long, fruitful life. And by delaying that gratification, making some sacrifices in the present tense, then we're gonna have that come back around in the future. And maybe that's some optimism that you're seeing right now, some naiveness, some naivete coming through. But I, at least right now, I believe that, and I hope you believe that as well too. So I'm going to pull this to an end here. I've been talking for 43 minutes, and that's a long damn time. I guess, and this is maybe not the most optimistic note to end on, but just, man, when I was 21, I'm almost not here today because of some decisions and just my upbringing and everything. And I've been to what I believe is relatively close to the lowest of the low, living homeless, and not full-time homeless, but down in Toronto, wandering alone and really having no place to go in London, and not really even my family really wanting to have me around because of the problems I was causing, and obviously mental health issues and depression, and now what I believe bipolar is a diagnosis. And I just went through a really difficult time, and I know there's people who are going through way more difficult times than that, but I just think that if I can turn that around and 5 years later, get to a place where I can do this, do this video and do these audio, and I'm still, sustainable. I'm making money. I'm providing for people. I have a home. I have an office. I have a house, rented house, not mortgage yet. It's coming. But I believe anyone can do it. And I'm nothing special. But I think we often come at it the wrong way. And I think so many people, and I hope that we're realizing this now, that everyone always grows up and says, you got to work hard. Working hard is it's 100% true. You have to work hard in whatever you do. But you got to work smart. And I think there's too many people who aren't working smart right now. They're, maybe they're trading that time for money, or, they're sticking in a career that's not having the upward potential, or they're not going out and networking and making the connections that can get them to the next level. All of these pieces that a lot of people I think aren't possible. Like I remember growing up I'm growing up now, but like internships and co-ops, like I didn't know I could just walk to an office or a company and say, I want to work for free, or I just want to learn some stuff. Will you let me come in here and help and be a part of this? And I didn't do that. And most people, I didn't get that knowledge. I didn't really know that just happened. No one really pushed me along to doing that stuff. But I think a lot of us are putting our head down, and we're just working as hard as we possibly can and hoping good things happen. The truth is, it's not going to work that way. You need to be smart, and you need to work smart, and you need to find passive least resistance. And maybe you're going to have to sacrifice in the short term in some things. But if you know that goal and you know that place that you want to get to, you can start to make those smart decisions and find that upward mobility. And as we talk about wealth inequality, and we talk about a lot of things that are going on in this world, that mobility has reduced for a lot of people. You don't need to be one of those people. And if you make the right decisions, if you work smart, if you start to meet those people, if you build that practical skill set, I obviously don't want to stay just tech, but if you're a nurse, if you're a developer, if you can program, if you can like even write content, search engine optimization, stuff that I guess in a lot of places contributes to nonprofit organization or social enterprises, or you can contribute to help a corporation, or even at least yourself, produce value or produce capital, or contribute to the bottom line. You are worth something, and if you can get that skill set, and you can nail that skill set down, you're worth something to someone. And if you can find the right person, you can make those moves and be smart about it, you're going to end up in the right place. And a lot of the reason I'm at least somewhat where I am today is because I've done that. I went and networked and walked to every networking event in the city and met all these people, and put myself and surrounded myself in a co-working space with hundreds of other companies to meet these people, so I could continue to grow my company, continue to grow my skill set. And all of that was very hard work, but it was smart work. And I avoided lots of just the mundane grinding and rigorous work by doing that stuff and making those decisions, and asking advice and getting mentors and finding people who are more successful than me and asking, what did you do? How did you get there? And I meet so many people, and I have lots of friends and talk to them, and just not enough people are doing that. So I don't know what that actual I guess, specific advice that comes out of this last little piece here, but work smart, work hard and work smart. And, I'm hoping that I can continue to share some resources and videos and tools to help you do that. I've got obviously TylerBryden.com. I've been building up an audiobook library of some of the best books that I've ever listened to that have taught me some amazing things. Some strategies and methods that I've learned over time that are pretty valuable and cutting edge in terms of the research I've done and the results that I'm seeing in my own work. And hopefully some of that has some value for you. Hopefully you can take, even this little podcast today or whatever it is that I'm creating at whatever time, and integrate that into your own life so that, you can be more successful and live a better life. And I'm not fully there myself. I've got lots of work to do. I have times and ups and downs and ebbs and flows, but I have seen, from being where I was when I was 21 and 23 to where I am now, just a couple years later at 26. It's a pretty drastic difference, and I can, say for myself, and I think the people around me would say for themselves, it's quite an improvement. I'm at a much better place today, and all I'm trying to do is share how I got from that place to this place. Yeah. And so I wasn't actually going to do this. I'm going to see if this works. I hope it works. But I thought I would put this on for a second. I'm going to listen to this with you just to close this out. I'm
sure what I'm doing.
Do I even have my Bluetooth headphones right now?
Lord knows I've been through it.
You on, buddies?
Climbing my way to the top now. God knows I'ma prove it.
Yeah.
Purchase your tracks today.
Lord knows I've been.
Lord knows I've been.
Lord knows I've been. Lord knows I've been.
5 years, 5 years, 5 years. There's no question, didn't think I'd make it here. Cause before I was lost, I was broken, ain't no joking. I was hopeless in psychosis, there was no diagnosis. I lost focus, I was homeless, and everybody noticed. And the people who were the closest were the ones that disappeared. Man, I suffered, every minute filled with pain. The hours turned to days, and the days turned to weeks. My mind under attack, all I wanted to do was sleep. I could barely fucking speak, I was weak. I need to pick myself up, but times were bleak, and recovery ain't easy. Please do believe me, it ain't like the shit we see on the TV. And it's harder when I didn't want anyone to see me, but I fought for my fucking life. And 5 years later, man, I'm here shining bright.
Don't know where to go now.
So yeah, you can still see I've got the tags in the back, everything like that, but just the concept for a track that I'm putting out, Milestones. I wanted to, originally maybe mix it and edit it and all that stuff, but wasn't going to happen here. So I just wanted to put the rough draft out here for you to listen. If you're listening, I hope you enjoy.
Purchase your tracks today.
Lord
You
knows
get the
I've
credits
been.
in the back.
Lord knows I've been. Lord knows I've been.
3 years, 3 years, 3 years. That's how long I run my business. Then think I make it here. They say 90% don't make it past the first two. I guess I'm in the 10% that made it past the worst two. They said I'm so naive to believe that I could do it. Tyler, you've struggled enough. Do you really need to pursue it? Just get a job. You don't need all the pressure. You don't need another stress. You're gonna end up in a stretcher. Tyler, your mom, don't upset her. You're not even fucking better. I was second guessing, make mistakes, and I was pivoting. Numbers in my bank account left me fucking quivering. But the working people, they were riveting. They gave me chances, and I took the opportunity. Now every day I get to live my life in unity. I've built a business that impacts the community, and not everything's perfect, but life's turning out beautifully.
Don't know where to go now. Not sure what I'm doing. They want me to fall down.
Purchase
Lord
your
knows
tracks
I've been
today.
through it.
I'm climbing my way to the top now. God knows I'ma prove it.
Live your life with love.
Yeah, so that was what I've been calling Milestones, and hope you enjoyed it. Just a rough draft mix. I wrote that pretty quickly and just did a rough concept recording so I could maybe show some people to get it mixed and mastered. So far, not going to happen, but I've got some other stuff that I want to do, and going back to that piece of being who you are and doing what you want to do. I love music. I love hip hop. I love spoken word. I love politics. I love so many things. I'm so passionate about so many things. But hip hop and music has always been one of those cores. And so hopefully I get a chance and an opportunity to make some more of it in my life, and build that as part. And so 26 years old, 25, I remember growing up and thinking, Tyler, you're going to be a huge hip hop star or a musician at 20 years old, 18 years old. And I've been recording, and just like I said in the song, recording and mixing and stuff since I've been 13 years old, and I just had that fear. I was so scared to release that stuff. I was a white young kid from Lucan, Ontario, in a farmland, and I thought, who would want to listen to that stuff? People would laugh me out, out of this world, and there's a lot of I think that I've gotten over, but bitterness and regret that comes with feeling that pressure and not being able to truly be who you are. And what I feel like I could have been making music and just doing other stuff that maybe would have impacted someone's life and resonated with people I could have been doing that for 10, 15 years, 13 years or so, and I didn't, because I was so scared of being myself and scared of what people would think. So don't do that. Enjoy your life, find out those things that you like, and don't worry about this age. I've talked a lot about being 26 today, but we're in a marathon in life here, and people end up in front of you, people end up behind you, and people end up running right beside you as well too. So enjoy that journey, and enjoy that life and this world that we get to live in. So I'm done here today. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend, guys.